It's Saturday morning, a weekend morning here in the Stoffaker-Gillis household, and that means that we usually make a nice big breakfast. So I'm going to talk today about adding a nice tofu scramble to the breakfast potatoes that I talked about last time. This time I have some nice yellow or white potatoes and some garlic. Today we're going to make a tofu scramble. Now I know a lot of you are going to say tofu, but it's a great alternative to eggs if you're trying to stay away from eggs, either because of the cholesterol or for ethical reasons. And the trick is to make a great accompaniment to that tofu. Tofu is a relatively flavorless kind of product, so you want to make sure that you're enhancing it with a lot of good stuff. But it's simple stuff that we'll talk about here today. We've got a medium onion, a green pepper, a couple cloves of garlic. I'm going to add some mushrooms to it, probably about half this package, but you don't have to. You could add jalapeno. Actually, any vegetables that appeal to you will make a good part of the mix. And I'm going to add one of these field roast veggie sausages as well. Here's the tofu. I always buy extra firm tofu for tofu scrambles, in fact for most of the uses of tofu. You can buy it either in a box like this, or you can sometimes see it packaged just around tofu. You can get it at Meijer. I got this at the Meijer in Standale. So simple ingredients, and what we're going to do is just put it together in a pan, and then we're going to be adding a seasoning that I'll talk about when we get to it. Okay, so I've done the chopping. You can see here we've got the green pepper and the onion and the garlic and the veggie sausage. Got some mushrooms chopped up, and got the potatoes and some more garlic. And this is all we really need except for that seasoning that I'll talk about, and some salt and pepper. And you'll need some oil. You can chop any way you want. You're cooking, not making a nuclear weapon, so it doesn't much matter. I hate it when the recipes say chop in quarter-inch pieces. I say I'll chop my mushrooms any way I want. Thank you very much. So just relax and chop things as you please. All right, so we start off, as we so often do, with onion and garlic. This is just garlic for the potatoes, and this is onion and garlic mixing up together in the pan with some oil. So I added the potatoes to the garlic, some salt and pepper, and really this is just going to cook down now, so I don't have much more to think about with the potatoes, which is the great thing about these. And the onions and garlic have cooked down nicely. I added salt and pepper to this. I also added some cumin seeds, which I really enjoy in this dish, but it's totally optional. Just cooking down the onion and garlic, and now it's time for the peppers and the veggie sausage. Peppers and veggie sausage in, and again we'll just let that cook for a little bit. The mushrooms are the last to put in because they don't take very long to cook. So I'll get started on the tofu. Alright, so I took the tofu out of the box, and there it is, just a big cake of tofu. And all I'm going to do is chop it into fourths, like so. And it's really simple. It has some water in it. It's moist, and that's good because we're going to cook these vegetables down some with the tofu. So I'm just going to crush these up with my hands, squeeze out the water, and you can see it kind of creates a consistency a lot like scrambled eggs. If you use a soft tofu, it comes out kind of slick and slippery, whereas this crumbles, and that's what you want. Extra firm tofu that crumbles. Now you can see it's very white, and you might think, well, that doesn't look like an appetizing breakfast scramble, but part of the seasoning we're going to put in will be turmeric, which of course is a very yellow spice that will help make this look a little bit more like a breakfast scramble. Okay, so I put the tofu in, easy, and all I do is mix up the veggies with the tofu. And before we put the seasoning in, we're going to cook this just a bit. Alright, so I want to give you a feel for what it looks like when you just brown it a little bit on the other side. You see, it's just a little bit of a firm bottom. And now we're ready for the seasoning. Okay, so this mix really just consists of 3 ingredients. This is nutritional yeast, which Sue talked about when she talked about chopped salad. And we have some of this in the office if you need some. I'm going to put I don't think it matters too much how much you put in. I mean, maybe 2 tablespoons, maybe a little less. And then this is a kind of a vegetarian version of chicken broth, but it's a bouillon powder, and then a little bit of turmeric. You can see we use these ingredients a lot, so we have big containers of it, but you don't need a whole lot of turmeric because it really does a good job of making things nice and yellow, and it's also very good for you. So I'm just mixing those 3 powders together, and then I just put in some water and mix it up. Again, it doesn't matter too much how much water you put in, because what we're going to do is cook it into the tofu scramble. And if there's a lot of water, you just take a little bit longer to cook it down. And if there's a little bit of water, it won't take as long. But I fill up this little bowl with water, so it's, I don't know, maybe a half a cup or so, or a quarter cup. And then it's just a matter of putting this liquid mixture into the tofu scramble. You can see it sizzles a bit because that's the water, and we just stir that in. You can see right away we're getting some coloring, and even with that, half a cup or quarter cup of water, you can see there's not a lot of water in the pan, but it's just soaking into the tofu, and as we cook it, it will firm up even more. But that's a nice looking breakfast dish right there. And basically from here I'm just going to cook that a little bit more so that the water evaporates some more, and we're all set. So let's give it a try. Sue put some salsa on her plate, and she's going to take a bite of this tofu scramble.
This is a Saturday morning tradition now, and it's become one of my favorite meals of the day.
And these potatoes are excellent too, by the way.